Manifestation is one of the number one searches online. And if you look at any type of analytics on YouTube, it's a top search. And so it's like, okay, well, everyone's trying to manifest. But I truly do believe that we oftentimes are creating so much unnecessary resistance when we get so caught up with this concept of needing to manifest versus allowing ourselves to enjoy exactly what is and attune ourselves to a frequency of enjoyment, acceptance, gratitude, because ultimately, if you are buzzing to that, more of your outer reality is going to reflect that without you having to try to do anything. And there's been so much trying and forcing around manifestation that I really do believe it is causing people to stay stuck. And I say that from my own personal experiences, because manifestation isn't about making anything happen. It is about allowing it all to be magnetized to you. And so I think a better question is, how do I allow myself to be magnetic and in a state of receptivity? In The Power of Intention, which if you have not read that book by Wayne Dyer, I highly encourage it. It talks about receptivity being one of the phases, the 7 phases of intention, which is really the divine intelligence. He calls intention behind everything. And so this inner communion, which is simply an exploration, it's not even really a meditation. We're just going to explore what will happen if we allow ourselves to have the intention to commune with our higher selves. And if we go into a state of allowing, awesome. If we go into a state of feeling resistance, awesome. We're communicating something to ourselves, and we're just going to receive whatever is being communicated from our higher selves. And our intention to be in communion with the source of all that is through our connection with our higher self is enough. It will deliver to us the exact medicine. But I just want to ask yourself, how often do you find yourself looking around in your reality and getting hyper-focused on what's not making you happy or what needs to change, what's something new that you need to manifest so that you can be in more peace? If you feel, or if you know to be true, that you are often trying to plan what it is, the checklist, so that you can have your external world be more to your liking, there is a high probability that you are caught in the loop of trying to fix the external versus going to the source of all external chaos, which is internal chaos. And the beautiful thing is when we allow ourselves to be at peace and accept exactly where we are, even if we're doing that, don't even need to fix it, that automatically loosens the grip that we're holding that's repelling, magnetizing to us what we actually want. So with all of that, let us take some deep breaths. My name is Casey Christine, by the way. And I am allowing myself to be in a space where I don't edit my offerings when they have to do with inner communion. So I am offering my tongue to my higher self to be an instrument to allow us to simply explore an inner communion. to all of the higher selves that are guiding their human counterpart with ears to this offering. Taking a deep breath in. Any struggle that you've been feeling or resistance, like, let's just acknowledge it for a minute. Let's just bless it. And like, it's okay. It's okay. We're effing human. Maybe looking at some of the things we have manifested and being like, well, I didn't want that exactly. Or how did I create that? Or, looking at relationships that are causing us to really ask ourselves, how did we call in this relationship or this situation? Just scanning if you're playing that record where there's so much chaos in the mind because you are the creator of your reality. And so there's this frustration possibly on what has been created already, right? The present is a pre-sent moment. Right now, we are pre-sending ourselves future moments. So in this witnessing, possibly, of current situations, events, people, materials, whatever it is, lack of, excess of, hoarding, not enough, whatever it is, can you accept it versus needing to judge it right now? Because remember, if you take up a resonance and you attune yourself to the frequency of acceptance, more in our reality will show up that feels like acceptance. And acceptance or judgment, which one feels better? Yes, acceptance is a form of surrender. But if you're looking at these things right now and you're judging them, condemning yourself, yelling at yourself, how did you do this? We know this. I don't like that, angry, which is fine. Acknowledge the anger. Anger is not a problem. It's communicating to you that you know that something's out of alignment. And oftentimes anger can get your ass to sit down and go inward or to purge out something you've been hoarding, right? So no judgment. Can you accept exactly as it is right now? Just take a breath. Like, what if everything that you have created in your life right now is part of the stepping stones to something more blissful and beautiful than you could ever imagine, but that would never have been attained without all of this that you're currently judging, because it's teaching you the power of surrender and acceptance and how to attune yourself. What if all of this that you think is wrong is actually the most right that it could possibly be? Like, what if? Breathe into that. Just accept, looking at all the things you want to hate and judge in your life. Can you be willing that these things are actually going to end up being the gold because of what it is initiating you into? Breathe into that. I know you feel this peace that's beginning to come in because you're attuning yourself to a willingness of acceptance, which aligns us with the power of intention. With your intention right now, can you have the intention to commune with your higher self? Just explore in this more spaciousness feeling of peace. We don't need to fix anything, don't need to change anything. We're just accepting everything. And we're accepting that we have the power of intention to commune with the holy light and fire of our higher self right now. Breathing in, accepting this gift of a human experience that your higher self has offered you. And thanking it for organizing these trillions of electrons into a human body. And beating your heart, breathing for you while you sleep, your body. Guiding you right here, right now, for a deeper connection that can magnetize anything to you without effort, external effort. Miracles, magic. Your higher self has the ability to orchestrate miracles. Your higher self is hanging out with divinity. The aspect of divinity that has not forgotten who it is. A child of the Most High, hanging out with ascended masters on that plane. The highest version that could ever exist of you already exists as you. And through our intention, we can be nourished by our higher selves, streaming us the consciousness of the divine. Call it God, universe, source, Holy Mother, Holy Father. A name is not important. Feeling this waterfall of grace beginning to wash over your consciousness. This feeling of peace. Wait a minute. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to change anything externally. I'm going to allow myself to get still for a minute and put my intention on my higher self to begin to feel more peaceful. And I want you to allow your higher self and your heart to guide you in answering this question. Is the whole reason why you're attempting to manifest, to think, or is it because you think that if you had XYZ externally, that you would be happier or more peaceful in your life, more fulfilled? Just have more peace, more feeling of security. Is that why you're trying so hard to manifest externally? Working harder. Just ask your higher self, reveal this to me. Why am I trying so hard to manifest? And with that direct revelation given to you from the aspect of divinity that is you, your higher self, you can trust what it is that your higher self reveals to you. And I want to ask you, if this is true, can you experience peace and fulfillment and security simply by remembering who and what you are and what you have access to? You have access to the intelligence that gives life to all things, that puts everything into form. What if simply allowing yourself time and communing, exploring that relationship, calling upon that relationship versus your friend for advice, that's got a whole mess of their own situation that they've manifested to initiate through. What if this relationship that's been right in front of you, right within you the whole time, the comfort, the wisdom, the prosperity, the peace that this relationship can offer you, and it doesn't need you to change anything about yourself. All it requires is your request to commune and the power of your intention and the willingness to create space for it. All relationships need space and attention to thrive. Imagine you had the most loving, incredible partner that wanted to provide for you, that had the most epic wisdom ever. I mean, like the smartest person in the world, humble, could work miracles, could align you with magic, could lead you to the best orgasm that you could possibly imagine, that has endless bank account prosperity, that just wants to give and give and give to you. Imagine you had that person just constantly sitting and waiting to serve you. But your receptivity was never attuned to that channel, to that person, to their consciousness, to their willingness. That is literally, you have that relationship. You have that relationship with your higher self, with your heart. Your heart is this instrument that can vibrate to you, communication of your higher self. Some of us hear it more clearly, others of us just sense it and feel it. I am a feeler. And then from that feeling, I really create the language. So it's not necessarily that you have to hear. I just want to ask you, are you ready? Would you be willing to get in a relationship, an intentional one, a present one with your higher self, and then pre-send future moments from that frequency of feeling in the most blissed out relationship there possibly is, being guided on receiving the most prosperity because it knows the path to your greatest fulfillment and joy and the most prosperity. And we've been so conditioned that we can't trust our intuition. We can't trust our heart, that our heart will hurt us. It's just breathing in. And I'm going to allow our higher selves to give us an example. We're going to use sports. I'm not a huge sports fan, but I believe we will all be able to understand it. Let's just again take in some deep breaths. If you are still listening to this, you have such a strong intention to be in communion with your higher self. And from personal experience, I know the grace that flows at a cellular level when that intention is created. And you are basking in that intention right now. Let's just breathe in and allow ourselves to receive this waterfall of grace from our higher selves. We need do nothing. Feeling it wash over every cell of our body. This feeling of peace. Just this knowing that everything is good. That this is a pivotal moment for us. As we have decided to be in deeper communion with the highest aspect of our consciousness, direct line to divinity. And taking us back to sports. Higher selves like to have fun too, and laugh. So thinking about how are sports played, right? Like, you want to play better teams if you want to get better, right? So becoming human, I believe, and check in to see if this is true for yourself. You want to come to experience sometimes a challenging game to get better. If you're not a sports player, maybe a video game player, in the different levels. As you keep going up, the challenges and the levels can get more challenging. Somewhere along the lines, we have ingrained in our consciousness that if we're experiencing challenges, it's a problem. And then we get so obsessed around needing to manifest something differently that it's actually all we're doing is focusing on the problem. It keeps bringing us back and back and back and back because we're seeing it as a problem versus this blessing, this gift, and this initiation. And then when you're focused on seeing it as, oh wow, this is an initiation, you become so solution receptive versus trying to change the problem. In sports, you're not trying to change what the other team is doing. It might throw them off their guard, but all of the intention goes behind making what? Yourself better. Practicing with your team, going to the gym more, lifting more, studying plays more. Like, you put all that champions, right, are excited to play really hard, good teams because they're getting better. Nobody wants to watch the game where somebody's like number one playing like number 100. You don't want to play a video game that wouldn't even be a challenge. You would be bored of that. So can you take a breath and all those things that we saw in the beginning that we were maybe judging, moving into acceptance around, and just commune with your higher self over how all of these blessings and initiations are for you, and how your higher self, if you will develop a relationship of listening through communing. It can be in states like this, it can be in silence, it can be the best too, is in the present moment where take a breath, recenter, call upon higher self. But can you be willing with your higher self right now to accept that your higher self has known the initiations to make you a champion? You already are a champion, but to reveal to you the champion that lives within you. Tom Brady was always a champion, right? And he kept revealing to himself the type of champion he is. He's always been a champion. He embodied championship. And it was revealed to him every challenging game. Every last minute Hail Mary, every last minute thing that they've called a Brady now. Because he, pull through in the last hour. It's like, wow. How'd he do that? So taking a breath. Accepting all of these incredible challenges. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to condemn or judge anything. Simply being willing to take a breath in the present moments and ask for your next step. Tom Brady would ask for the right play in the present moment based on what was presented to him. You can't predict what others do, the challenges, but he can predict. Being in tune with himself in the game, you can predict the best response in the present moment to the challenge presented to you by becoming a champion in your relationship with higher self communion. Just knowing that actually problems can really just fade away. Some need attention, some don't. Your higher self will reveal that to you. Some are mainly in our head. Some are just totally in our head. Have you ever had this conversation that you need to have with someone and you're just dreading it because it's oh my God, it's going to be so hard. But you speak your truth, they speak their truth. And it was just oh my God, that wasn't even anything. I totally created this insane issue when it was just never even an issue. Laughing about it, maybe laughing about some of the things that you have created to initiate yourself. Just breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let us simply end with asking for help, calling for a Hail Mary in our life. That's okay. Ask for help. You have the best help. There is no one that can help you like your higher self. No one. And somehow it's the last person we call upon. I'm on a direct speed dial of help to my higher self now. And man, sometimes I do need a reminder. Or I flounder for a minute and I'm wait a minute. This floundering, this flapping out of water sucks. I'm ready to go downstream, get in the water and float. Oh yeah, speed dial, higher self, help, boom. In comes the downhill floating, or the wise wisdom of how to gain strength and flexibility through resistance that does need my attention to be worked through for the highest good of all, for the mission of my heart, for my strengthening, or is it something to completely go downstream with? Only when I allow my higher self to help me does it become easy and graceful. Until then, it is just an absolute hot mess. And then I have to laugh at myself Casey, you know how much easier it is when you speed dial higher self. So that is going to be our closing prayer, is to gain conscious awareness that we have a cell phone with us that we never have to carry with us, that has a direct speed dial line to our higher selves, which remember is the direct line to divinity. And that we are sovereign and we have a free will choice to make the call or to not. But in this moment, let us surrender to the grace of our higher selves and asking our higher selves to implant a higher self sovereign cell phone that has one line and it only goes directly to our higher selves. Maybe even creating an image for yourself of what does your line look like? Is it a phone? Maybe it's a microphone and headphones and it's a two-way, or maybe it's when you were a little kid and you had the little tin cans with the rope. That's fun. I think that's going to be mine. I'm going to where's the tin can? And allow this image, whatever you decide to plant in your consciousness, in your third eye, maybe even seeing like what your higher self looks like. It's this benevolent being of light. Is it many rays? Is it like your light body and somewhat of a form of you that then goes up to the celestial body, which is like a image of divinity? What is it for you? Is it electrons? Just whatever is being revealed to you. What's an image that you could see on the other line of this hotline? Traveling at the speed of light, literally. Allowing that image to come to you. Holy Mother, Holy Father, we thank you for this inner communion that has been revealing and playful and has bestowed a waterfall of grace pulsing through every cell of our body as we have stepped into remembrance of the connection that we always have, the one that can sustain us beyond anything external. And we ask for your help in remembering this connection and to be playful and fun with us as we are witnessing these initiations that we are creating to step into our highest potential of our greatest joy, happiness, fun, fulfillment, and bliss, and to remember this hotline. Again, just seeing this hotline with your human self being on one side of it, your higher self on the other, and this constant pulsation of light coming from your higher self to you, offering you divine intervention for what is best for you to receive in the present moment for where you are. And based on your receptivity and attunement, that your higher self can shift it up in divine timing for your highest good. And we need not to control what that is. We simply surrender higher selves to you to offer us in the present moment that which is for our highest good beyond our linear and logical understanding. And we accept this hotline connection with grace and ease in all of our days to come as we continue to strengthen our inner communion with you, higher selves, the aspect of our sovereign divinity that is gifting us a human life and streams directly from the Holy Mother and Holy Father of all that is. I'll see you on the next offering. All my love and light. Namaste.